Welcome into this episode of Coach's Corner. Jordan Woodruff with you. Good to have you along. Today's episode is brought to you by Anderson Flooring, and we're joined by volleyball coach Jenny Hinterreiter. And hey, good to have you along. First time talking this year. Let's start it off. Since we last talked, which would have been we've talked. I guess you'd say personally a few times because you're my favorite DJ at basketball games.
Thank you.
She handles the music at basketball games, so
it's fun.
It's a lot of fun with that. She does a good job. But how's things going? How was the summer and how things been?
Yeah, that's one thing people don't understand is that our first day of season is July 16th. So, I mean, we really have half.
You get the month
summer.
of June.
Yeah, that's basically it. So we've been hitting it hard for a while now. Right now, varsity's 5-6, so we really need to get over that hump, get to 500, and then get over that. But the freshmen and JV are showing real promise, and so excited about what the future has for our program.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and it's hard to believe. You've been doing this a long time now at Ponca City, haven't you?
Yes, I have. This is my 17th year, 6th as head coach, and 11 years as the assistant before that. So, yeah.
Don't think you're going anywhere.
Yeah. I don't know. As long as we keep making gas and whatever that is that we make over there, we'll be here for a while.
Yeah. And you've seen a lot over the years, naturally, but we've talked about this. It's so hard in 6A, and we've talked about you in your district almost, or anything that's set up with your region, and you're going to see almost a D1 volleyball player. Almost every team you play in that 6A level at Oklahoma City or Tulsa, right?
Yeah. And the tricky thing about volleyball is that we're actually not in districts like most sports, and we've started that conversation of all of the volleyball coaches. The majority of us would like to move towards districts because we're heavily relied on rankings.
Yeah.
And so a lot what I do with my schedule is we go to a lot of tournaments on the Tulsa side because most of our conference is on the Oklahoma side. So I want, or Oklahoma City side, I want all of the coaches out there to be able to see Ponca and give us a fair rating on our rankings because it's where you end up in your ranking that determines where you go to regionals.
Well, and the other thing with that too is I think some people with the scheduling not having districts, and we went through that with basketball as well, is when you do your you're doing your scheduling part of it, you want to keep somewhat close because I mean you there's budget and you want to keep the kids, so you end up playing maybe some of the smaller schools, which is good. It's nice and everything, but there's like this stigma. It's like, well, those small schools, you're beating them, you're not beating us, and your ranking may go down a little bit.
Right. If they say they see we have a winning record, but we're beating 3A, 4A, 5A, then they may not rank us very high, even though we might be capable of competing with some 6A schools out there. But you're right. Like, we played Chisholm because of proximity and good relationship with their coach and program, but does beating Chisholm really help us in our ranking process? I don't know.
Do you think you'll get to doing the districts? You think that?
I think so.
You think we're close to that?
Yeah, at our coaches meeting that we have every year for the, coaches meetings we have every year. The majority of the coaches wanted to move towards districts, so that's conversations we have to have with our AD and get everybody on board and take one step at a time.
Do you think there's a lot of promise in that with when basketball made that change? I think most people in 5A, 6A basketball are very happy with that change. So, I mean, does that give you confidence in maybe doing that in volleyball?
Yes, it would. And then also as a coach, it takes a lot of pressure off of
scheduling.
Me. Scheduling. And then also having to sit down every weekend. Rankings open on Friday, close on Monday. And having to pay attention to everybody else. And the majority of schools, I've never actually seen them play with my own eyes, and I'm expected to rank them. So there's a lot of pressure in that. I want to do it right. And
let coaches worry about their own teams, right?
Yeah. So I think it would be a very positive move for volleyball.
Well, if you're watching, you have a say in that.
Maybe
that's what we should do.
Yeah. I'm not saying call the AD and say volleyball should go to rankings. I'm not saying that, but
yeah. Well, I do think with basketball having the success they've had, and I think everybody thinks it's simplified things. And there's also this coach knows this coach, and there's biases in there, and you can. And I'm not saying they're trying to be biased, but that's just part of life. Yeah. So, we've seen it before. There's been times where you thought in the recent years that maybe you should have had a ranking that was 3 or 4 spots higher, which may have been the difference in winning a first-round regional match.
Example was last year. For some reason, Enid was ranked 5 seats above us, even though we beat them head to head 2 out of 1 time. We were 2-1 against Enid. And all of a sudden they jumped up in rankings the last week and got an easier seed at regionals than we did. So it's just, it's a lot of, well, how did that happen sometimes?
Right. All right. I want to get into the team now. And this team, like you said, you're right there hovering around the 500. You feel like this team has a chance to maybe do something. And you have 6 seniors. So, you have a good senior crew to kind of lead.
Yeah. We've been talking a lot about consistency and rhythm. That's kind of our hang-up right now is we can get into a good rhythm for maybe one set, but then we can't carry that rhythm onto the second set. And so I really would like for us to be more consistent overall throughout the whole match. Best out of 5 can get long. So far, we've only done 4 matches. We haven't gotten to a 5-set match yet, but I would really like for us to improve in that consistency area. And I think once the seniors, all of my seniors are they're in the rotation, so we've got a lot of experience. But we're at the point in the season where we really need to get that down.
Yeah, and who's really standing out this year so far for your team? You may want to go through the whole list, but who's standing out for you?
Yeah, right now our offensive leader is Darcy Hinterreiter. She's taking a lot of swings for us, and her efficiency is kind of like baseball. She's batting at around 400, 300 right now, which is pretty excellent and pretty what you want out of your outside hitter. Our middles are working really hard. I always love getting a shout out to our middles because I was one and it's a lot of work with not very much credit. Every once in a while they get that big kill, that big block, but what people don't watch is they're, what we call pin to pin. They're moving constantly from antenna to antenna, working really hard, and so they're doing a really good job. So when you establish your middle and your middle is really aggressive, it makes their blocker stay with them, dedicate to them. So then if you push the ball outside, it gets kind of a one-on-one situation with your outside hitters. So it becomes really effective.
Well, and that's the thing is like in volleyball, it going back and forth, but the game within the game is the one time the ball's hit over there.
Yeah.
It comes from, digging it out and being able to put that in a good spot and then getting that to somebody that can set well and then that setter put it in the right spot to have a chance to get that point.
Yeah.
And people, it's the game within the game, and if any one of those is off, it changes the whole dynamic and puts them at an advantage on their side.
Yeah. We've got some real leaders in our defense. Logan Hafen and Jenna Northcutt are really kind of leading our defense in the back row. We play a hybrid defense where we kind of play one style when their outside is hitting, and then we play a different style, different strategy. And so we're forcing our opponents to take the hardest shot, which in volleyball is down the line if you're a right-handed hitter for the outside. So we're putting our good defenders on the line. They're expecting them to take the harder shot and see if we can kind of mess them up from there. So
the strategies of volleyball.
Yeah.
Which
there's always a weakness in the defense, so that always happens. But where like I said, Logan and Jenna are great at reading the ball. Like they can tell where a hitter is going and can adjust from there.
The most important thing I think though too is you want the effort, and that's one thing I've always seen over the years: the hustle and the effort. Even if you're down 2 sets, it's diving to keep that one alive and have that great rally. And maybe you go on to lose, but you give your team a little bit of a oomph during that time. And that's the one thing I think that's always kind of been common with the teams is you have girls that will hustle and they'll get down on the floor and they'll really try to win that point. Sometimes even when the chips are down.
Yeah, and we've talked about how important points are. And we try to live in the moment. Each ball matters. Each point matters because of the ranking situation. Yeah. If another coach takes time to see, because we enter scores. So let's say we're battling against Broken Arrow and we lose against Broken Arrow. But if we lose 22-25, that tells that coach, hey, they hung in there. They competed. So every point matters, and so that's what we preach a lot. Yeah,
and you talk about your momentum part of things and going from one set to the other, but it's not even sometimes one set to the other. You could have the most brilliant 5 points possible.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, on one, you call timeout, go back out there, and then the other team scores 8 straight points. Yeah. And some of that has to do with who's serving. Some of that has to do with the rotations and everything, but that's the consistency part. It's always maybe the most challenging because there's so many inconsistencies with volleyball.
Yeah, and with any sport, you have momentum changers. For example, last night, one of our hitters she hit it hard and she was blocked. Props to the other team. They blocked it straight down, and then Midwest City got about 3 points after that because the momentum shifted, and we went, meh. And so yeah, it just happens.
Yeah, and it's like, when you talk about football, right? It's like the momentum, a fumble, and then all of a sudden it turns into a rout.
Yeah,
Ponca City football last week, right?
Yeah,
they were down 6 and scored 65 straight after that. So momentum is a big thing, and trying to carry that in, and you don't want them to try too hard though, because when you try too hard.
Oh, then you get all in your head, and then you're overreading, you're overshooting. Yeah, playing scared. We talk a lot about don't be scared. It's uncanny how many times in volleyball the score is tied 22-22.
Yeah.
And when you only need 25 points, those last 3 points are super important to take care of the ball. Play smart, but don't play scared. And so,
How in the coaching aspect, is it one of those things you read, and actually you have your substitutions that you have to make throughout, and your rotations, all that. But are you watching when a kid is maybe a little bit more on edge and say, hey, we need to get them out for a minute or get them out of set? I mean, is that something you're constantly watching for, just like any other coach?
Oh, yeah, mindset. And you can tell if, hey, that kid would normally get to that ball. Yeah. There's something, I'm really appreciative of the open dialogue about mental health in sports. The mental game is huge. And also discussing with our athletes, hey, we have people to back us up. So it's not all about you. It's not about you, I suck right now. Well, but we've got a teammate that can help you out, like back you up on that. And it's that combination of coaching of how long do I give her to get herself out? How much do I want to mess with the rotation,
Yeah.
And then when do I say enough is enough? Right. And we need to have somebody else step up and help. And it's a lot of in the moment decisions and coaching is hard, people.
Yeah. All right. You're now, I guess, in the basically final month of, you started in July, as we talked about, but you're in the final month. So talk about how the schedule ramps up and what you'll be looking to achieve maybe in this final month heading into regional, because everybody gets to go to that regional.
Yeah,
you'd love to have a better seating possibility, and you're going to earn that over this next month.
Yeah. I think we'll have a real opportunity this weekend. We go to a tournament in Bartlesville. And we've got Owasso, we have Jinx there, we have Bartlesville, which has eluded us this year. We're 0-2 against Bartlesville, so we're going to play them a third time already. UConn will be there, so a lot of teams that are already ranked. So if we can get some W's this weekend, I think that'll open some people's eyes, get us over that 500 mark, getting us winning record. So that's an opportunity. Then I'm excited right after this tournament, then we have a home game on the 9th. And we're home on the 9th, 18th, and 23rd. And you know me, I like winning at home. I don't like losing at home. So there should be good competitive games. And
get out there and see them if you can. You got those dates, so get out there and support this group of girls if you can. And Coach, we'll probably talk to you again either right before or right after playoffs. Yeah. And best of luck. And let's go out there and improve those rankings.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll go to districts as we talked about eventually, but improve those rankings and see if we can't make somebody think twice about a regional.
That sounds great.
All right, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Coach Jenny Hinderreiter, that's going to do it for us. Today's episode has been brought to you by Anderson Floyd. Thanks to Chris behind the camera. Jordan Woodruff saying so long until next time here on Coach's Corner. And until then, go Cats.